We're sitting in a parking lot of what we thought was going to be our campsite for the night. And we noticed someone pulled in like right after we did. And it was another van. So we thought, oh, okay, cool. They're just going to get set up. But they actually got out of their vehicle and met up with a person who was already here. And it is freezing outside and they were in bathing suits. And so we were like, okay, no big deal. Cool. You want to be a little crazy in the water? Awesome. Have fun with that. But then we went out to go and take a picture, which this is where we're at. It's beautiful. It's absolutely amazing. This is Natural Dam in Arkansas. Found it on iOverlander. But then we started noticing as soon as we got out of the car, they went back to their vehicles. So we thought, oh, okay, well, maybe they just, are kind of like us. We don't know you. You don't know us. It's kind of close to dark. But then they just sat there. One of them's in a sports car and then one of them is in a van. And there's two girls and a guy. And they just keep flashing their lights. So they're not leaving. We've been sitting here back in our vehicles for about 30 minutes just thinking, oh, well, they'll eventually leave. They're not. I think they're waiting us out. It did say some locals just come to this area sometimes, so I'm thinking they're locals. My gut's getting a bad reaction, though. I'm not really comfortable with this, and I usually trust my gut, so we're actually going to go on, and we're going to go to a truck stop. It won't be as nice, but that's how it goes sometimes, and I can always return to this during the day. But right now, I just don't feel safe. Literally, they just keep flashing their lights and walking around. And flashing their lights and walking around. And they have like cups and stuff, but not like Vanlife cups. It's like alcohol. So I'm kind of worried. Okay, we found a truck stop. It's about an hour away, but that's the closest thing that we could find on iOverlander.
For about 21 miles, continue straight.
And I think it's just worth it. Whenever they got into their car, they then walked over from the car to the van and then just stared at us. And we didn't have the cars on or anything, so we were just looking like we were camping, and they just glared at us. I really was hoping we wouldn't be driving this late, but that was a situation that made me uneasy, and anytime there's an uneasy situation, I just move on. It's not worth it to risk it, especially when you're in a more remote area that you're not familiar with. Okay, we pulled into this truck stop and we were just trying to figure out if they do have parking for us to be in. The truckers park over here, and normally there's like one row that you can park in, but there's no parking spots over there. On the other side, it is clearly marked that there's no overnight parking. So if we do stay here, it has to be in the trucker lot, in which case we have to find out if we can even fit over there or if we're allowed to be over there, and we won't know until we go. So we're going to do that. Otherwise, we have a Walmart or a Cracker Barrel that are up the road, so I'm not sure which one of those is going to work best. Some days it's just like this. It's fine. You have to be flexible, and I really wish that it wouldn't have been a problem where the locals were out and about. I just know that if I ever go to a campsite and there are locals that are hanging out in a parking lot and it gets nighttime and they're still hanging out and they're just like waiting it out for you to leave, that does not always net a good response. So yeah, we could have stayed there and it might not have been a big deal, but at the same time, I'm not trying to figure out if it is or is not a bad or good deal. It just gave me the ick. And I don't stick around when I have the ick. Meanwhile, Riley's over here talking to her little channel a little bit, so telling her version of the story. She's had a rough run today. She nearly hit a deer going down the road. Yeah, super, super fun. So at this point, we just want to get to a place where we can not. It's been a great day leading up to this. We had such a great adventure day. We stayed at an excellent campsite last night. And so I'm not mad. I just think that, some days you just have to pivot, and this is one of them. And kind of tired, but if we end up going that Cracker Barrel, it's like 38 more miles away, but it's on the highway, so that won't be too bad. If we end up going to the Walmart, there is one review saying in 2021 they had some signs posted saying you're not supposed to overnight there. I try not to stay in places that had signs saying don't overnight. There have been a couple of reviews since then, both of which said it was fine. However, I make it a point not to break the rules just because that can mess it up for everyone, and I don't want to do that, so I don't know. Cracker Barrel's sounding pretty nice. That means we can eat breakfast there in the morning. I'm not upset about that, not at all. Okay, so if this works out, we're going to go over here and into this pull-in and just see if there's any spots. It looks like there might be a couple small car spots, but also somebody might be staying in those, and I don't want to park right next to them. So we're just kind of looking. We're just kind of combing through and looking. That definitely did not work out. There were a lot of truckers there, and the review that I found on iOverlander didn't exactly explain that that was a super popular truck stop and that there weren't a lot of places for vans. So we just opted to not do that because we try not to take up the truckers' spaces, and that's the only place there was to park. There wasn't something that was like an outlier. So we're back on the road again, and we're heading to Cracker Barrel. Okay, currently making a couple of wraps and putting up my groceries from earlier, and then I'm just going to be calm and comfortable at this Cracker Barrel. Not every day can be the scenic, picture-perfect day. That waterfall really had us excited. It was beautiful, but at the same time, it's not worth risking it for our safety. So, Cracker Barrel and wraps it is. We have a lot of adventures planned though already, so we'll see how my sleep goes. We're not too far off the highway, but I don't love staying at places like this unless I absolutely have to, and by trekking out 2 separate places that normally would be our go-tos and finding that they just weren't, we had to turn to the backup plan, and well, at least we're not directly on the highway, we're just kind of off of it. Okay, so woke up this morning at the Cracker Barrel. Have to say, not my favorite way to sleep. Pretty loud at this one. The road sounds were only part of the story. There was a truck that pulled in for stocking, and it just hummed for quite a while. And then after that, I went to sleep, and I was doing really good. And then it sounded like a jackhammer right behind my van. No idea what it was. A little unnerving. Woke me up at like 3:30, and I just like shot out of bed like, whoo, okay. That's the big difference between sleeping in a remote space like we have and then a space like this where it's more of an urban space where there's lots of traffic. Sometimes you get a good night's sleep and sometimes it's a very disrupted sleep. I'm not complaining though, because at least this was a spot. I just, you know, the realisticness of it is that not every day is glamorous. Not every day is beautiful pine forest when you open your doors. Some days it's a Cracker Barrel in a very busy area. But it did give me an opportunity to have some good cellular service, and that was really good because we are about to experience another cold snap, and it's going to last one evening. It's going to get down into the 20s, and it's also supposed to be rainy, so that makes for a disaster. So Riley and I were talking kind of a little bit about what our plan is, because we want to sit still for the entirety of that day and not move, so that we're not cruising around on any kind of icy roads, because that's not fun. No one wants to do that. So what we were kind of thinking is, after we leave the Cracker Barrel, we're just going to go in our pajamas. We're going to go to Planet Fitness. We're going to take a shower. And then after we leave Planet Fitness, then we are going to head out and pick up a few small supplies at like Dollar Tree that will just tide us over for like a day. And then we're going to be cruising up to our next destination where we have a campsite with electricity, and we're just going to kind of shelter in place for the next 48 hours basically. So whenever we arrive, we need to arrive with everything that we need so that we don't have to leave. And this is kind of a weird time of year because not all of the amenities at all of the campgrounds are opened. So we have to kind of think in advance when it comes to the showers and things like that. That said, I am very excited because now we're going to get to use the shore power for the warmth and things like that. And I think Riley and I have set up that we're just going to have a little office day and make the most of sitting still, because I think that's one of the best things that we can possibly do with the really cold temperatures. So now we just have to get it together enough to go and take a shower and go to the store and then drive to our next destination before it starts the drizzly rain and dropping temperatures. Oh, not looking forward to that. We're also cutting ourselves short on a couple of adventures that we wanted to do today as a result of the temperatures dropping so much more rapidly. And so we're going to earmark those for whenever we come back, and then we can go out on those adventures. It's not the best of ideas, but it's also not the worst. Safety has to be paramount, especially after yesterday and all of the chaos that we encountered pulling into that campsite. Safety has to be first. And safety doesn't just mean from other people. It means from the natural conditions that are going on around you. If you know that it is going to be cold and wet, that is just a recipe for ice. And I don't know about you, but I'm not trying to be an ice skater here in my dimples. This is my home on wheels. I want to protect it. I want to take care of it. I want to protect myself, take care of myself. Riley's the same with hers. She also has to worry about little Tyson. So finding a spot that we can just hunker down is definitely worth it. Maybe not the most exciting, but there's never a dull moment with me and Riley, so who knows? We might end up getting into some fun, weird stuff anyway. But for now, it's time to go to Planet Fitness. Meanwhile, I usually have it set up where Riley can sit somewhere in this area whenever we're in the van so we can have an entertainment space. And I noticed whenever I was putting everything together today that Riley's leaving similar little pieces throughout the van. This was attached to a thing in my van. Okay. I'm assuming she has a gap on her head now. This is a big chunk. Okay, we made it to Planet Fitness. Here we go. Found Riley over here. Now we just have to see if she's ready to go take a shower. Good old Planet Fitness, where it looks like the clouds are already starting to come in. Yay. So I'm gonna go in, take a shower, get my life together, and then whenever I come out, I'll look a little less tired maybe. And then we're gonna go pick up some supplies and then head up to our campsite where we're gonna be hunkering down. We have a pretty good plan as of right now. It did get derailed a bit, but that's okay. That's life. Sometimes it just doesn't go the way you want it to. So Riley's getting herself all set up and then we're going in. Okay, another successful shower at Planet Fitness. I feel a lot better. My back isn't hurting now. It was a little tense from the last couple days of activities, but feeling real good now. Although I am kind of blind. I need some sunglasses. Let's unlock and open. And inside, I need to figure out where to flat dry this towel. Also, since we're just gonna be going to our next campsite, I'm just gonna leave my shower bag here. Has my pajamas in it. Everything's been dried off, so it should be fine. Some geese just flew over. That was pretty cool. They were a little fast for me to catch, but it's okay. I'm gonna drape this in the front seat. It's already like dry to the touch. Loving this new towel. So I think if I just put it like here, it should dry out the rest of the way pretty easily. So I'll just kind of do this. So it drapes like this. I think that's good. I would like to find a place to drop off my trash, but I know the campground I'm staying at does have trash also, so that's not that big of a deal. But there's a few other little things that I need to start figuring out in the van. But first we go get snacks. While I was inside, some moisture came down. This is exactly why we want to get in one place and sit, because any moisture in freezing conditions can be really bad. So the biggest irony of that is that it wasn't even supposed to start until like later this afternoon. So that was very unexpected. And that means they're gonna get it again later this afternoon, according to the news. So really have to take that into consideration as we get ready to move. We're about an hour and a half from where we're gonna stay. We're just gonna stay at a place that I know is consistently good and also has electrical hookups so that we can plug in heaters over the next few days. And I forgot to take my hairbrush in, so this is quite the mane of hair today. It's fine, at least it's not cold outside right now. So I'm gonna go look up the closest Dollar Tree, which I think is just in the opposite direction. Riley should be out in just a moment, and then after she gets out, then we're going to get on the road and get toward our destination. The struggle with the curtain continues. It just keeps falling. This is what happened before also. It's just because there's movement in the van. So every time there's movement, it just kind of rattles. And again, I've tried so many suggestions that you guys have already given me, and none of them seem to work. I'm not going to build something, although you can see, yeah, super fun, super fun. Literally just fixed it, literally fell again. This is so frustrating. Okay, so this is like the 5th time I've had to fix this already, and we're only a few days into the journey. And A lot of people had said, ooh, use this or use that. I've tried those things. It does not work. The rattle of this and the bulkhead, the way that it sits, because it sits out, it pushes down. And so when it pushes down on the bar. If I lower the bar, then it just slides. So the only thing that I have not tried is putting something to surround it, but I do not want to drill into my van in any way because that voids my warranty. With the exception of my shore power, which I cleared through the mechanics, that would be enforcing my warranty. So since there are some wires that run through the bulkhead, I cannot. Some people have said put up a temporary curtain or a divider. The problem with the divider is as I roll down the road, it falls. It doesn't work. I've tried that too. Somebody mentioned a cardboard box, also falls. Somebody mentioned attaching to this with S brackets, but I think you can see if I were to attach to the S brackets here, I lose this much of my van, which means that everything here and forward is covered by a curtain, and that's just too much. So I need something to fit in this cavity right here, and I need it to stay up. This is the most frustrating part of my entire van, and I've changed my layout dozens of times at this point. So, you know, we'll see if it's still here whenever I come back out from the Dollar Tree. Okay, we're going to Dollar Tree to get some snacky snacks and some supplies. It's raining again, so the faster we get this done, the faster we get to a place where we don't have to move when the temperature starts dropping. It is already significantly more cool than when we woke up this morning. Oh, look how cute it is. Woohoo, little bunnies. Okay, Riley has her bags. I have my bags. Now it's time to find our campsite. Putting my groceries right here. Came back, curtain had fallen again. I've got something that I picked up inside that I'm gonna try to fix it with. If this doesn't work though, I don't know what to do. Oh, it has gotten super cold. I just got gas because I'm gonna need it to get to our location, but also because I wanna be able to run my van a little bit to get it warm after I have to crawl up on the roof to get my shore power down. Oh my gosh, it's cold. Not a comfortable cold either, like a bone-cutting cold. And we have about an hour and a half to drive, and then we get to start addressing all of the weird camping issues. It's been a weird couple days. That's all I can say. Got $17.91 worth of gas though. Time to hit the road. Driving is somewhat interesting right now. It is super windy, straight line winds, and it's just moving the box of the van around. Like, this is the kind of driving that I do not enjoy, which is what we were trying to avoid. And so by coming here now, we're avoiding the vast majority of it, but wow. Riley, it's really super windy up here. How are you handling it?
Yeah, it's pretty windy too, but I think like because I'm behind you, you're blocking a lot of the wind, so I'm doing okay.
Yeah, it's whipping me around pretty good. It's kind of insane feeling, but we're almost there. That's good. So since we made it to Missouri, I have a campground that I like to stay at that I know for a fact is a good solid campground. There probably will not be water because it's going to be freezing. That's okay. We are prepared. We have our toilets. We have our shower already done. And right now we're just trying to get there because the storm of the coldness and the rain is starting to come in. Okay, I got us a campsite for 2 nights so that we can hunker down. It was $42, and this is a 30 amp site, and apparently this is close to a bathroom that is actually still open, which I didn't know if it would be. Everyone here is super friendly. There's not as many people staying here right now because it's winter time. In fact, in Campground 2, which I normally stay at, there's only one person other than the camp host there. In the camping loop that they put me in though, there's gonna be a few more people, but I'm okay with that simply because it does give us access to the actual restrooms. They're not all closed down, so that'll be fun. So campsite 108, here we come. And then maybe I can like have a reset from all this craziness that's been going on, because it's been a lot. Okay, we made it. Site 108. This is gonna be our home for a couple days. I will at least be toasty in my van like this. We'll see how this goes. Till next time, guys. Bye!